Good morning, Spring Hill. I'm Tina Andrews, and today in Telling the Story, we're talking about forgiveness. Forgiveness can be hard sometimes and easier others. What do you suppose makes it that way? Well, I know when something happens that I think is an accident, that's easier for me to forgive than something I think is on purpose. For example, think about if you were walking down the hallway at school and someone bumped into you. If you thought maybe they just tripped or someone else had pushed them, you probably wouldn't have a hard time forgiving them. If you thought they really meant to bump into you, you might get angry. What about if you walked into your classroom or into your office and you found out that someone had been saying really nasty things about you? That's kind of hard to see as an accident. And it makes it a little harder to feel forgiving about it too, doesn't it? Especially if they don't apologize. How about another example? What if you were playing in the living room at home and you knocked over and broke something really important to your mom or dad? How do you think they would feel about that? If you weren't breaking any rules and it was an accident, they might be upset, but I'm sure they'd forgive you pretty easily. But if you were doing something you weren't supposed to be, something you've been told not to do over and over again, they're probably going to be a little more angry and have a harder time forgiving. There's another example. What about driving down the road and someone cuts you off? Grown-ups get pretty angry about that. They might even say not so nice words. But if they swerved in front of you because there was an accident and they were trying not to hurt someone else, you'd probably forgive that a lot easier than if they just wanted to go faster than you were. In the Bible, God tells us to forgive one another. And he says to forgive one another the way he forgives us. If you think about it, God forgives us no matter what, even when we do things on purpose. When Jesus was hanging on the cross, one of the things he said before he died was, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Do you think Jesus meant that they didn't know they were killing them? Probably not. It's pretty hard to crucify someone and think they're not going to die. So I don't think he meant they didn't know they were killing him. I think what he meant was they don't understand the consequences of what they're doing. And I want you to forgive them, even though they're doing it on purpose. So God expects, when we find someone else who's harmed us, that we forgive them, even if it's on purpose, because they don't really understand the harm that they're doing. Not really. Not at the level of their soul. And that can be really, really hard. Only if we don't rely on God to help us. In Ephesians, Paul tells the church there to be kind and tender-hearted with one another and to forgive each other the way that God forgives us. So my challenge for you this week, your assignment, might sound pretty hard. It's to forgive people who harm you or make you angry or just annoy you. And to do it even if you think they meant to be hurtful, just the way that God forgives us. I said it might be hard. The reason it would be hard is if you try and do it on your own without letting God help. So when you carry out your assignment this week to forgive, if you find yourself having trouble, what should you do? Go to God. Pray and ask him to help you forgive the way he forgives us. Have a great week, Spring Hill.